few years ago, I started to rediscover old retro games that I've never played before, all because of all the great things people have been saying about these classics. This led me to go online to do some research, and one of the game series that I wanted to visit was Prince of Persia. I do remember playing and finishing a version of it on the NES many years ago, and I think I also played the demo of the sequel for MS-DOS on PC. But other than that, I knew almost nothing about the series prior to the Sands of Time trilogy. Obviously, I went to Google and searched Prince of Persia, but instead, it linked me to the 2008 release of Prince of Persia, with Sands of Time search results thrown in the mix. Good thing I knew that the series is older than that, so I elaborated in my search to get what I was looking for. But the thing is, I was eventually able to find info on the original Prince game because I already had the knowledge that it existed. But for those that don't know any better, how are they not going to get confused? Or how do we expect them to find out about these games in the first place? Prince of Persia from 2008 is considered by fans and critics to be a rather mediocre game, and yet search results overshadow the original classic. And you know what's sad? This is a trend that has been happening a lot with modern games. One of the problems with using an identical name is that it forces people to have to clarify which version they're talking about. This can be kind of annoying because every time you talk about Prince of Persia 2008, you have to keep saying Prince of Persia 2008. I mean, come on, that's like 10 syllables long. Because of this, people will make up names for these games which result in not using the intended name, thus making the name pointless. I mean, take a look at Sonic 06. Yeah, that's what everyone calls it, but it's actually called Sonic the Hedgehog. No, I'm not kidding. It's using the exact same name as the phenomenal hit from 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog. Fans of the series, believe it or not, actually considers this game's title as being almost blasphemous because one of the greatest 2D platformers of all time is associated by name to one of the worst 3D platformers of all time. So, they changed it. People never called it by its intended name. Fans of the series always called it Sonic 06. What is even the point of a name like this if nobody likes using it? Oh, but wait, what if you and a friend of yours start a conversation among each other talking about two different games that had the same name and none of you knew that's what's actually happening? Let's take Mortal Kombat for an example. The conversation might go something like this.
Oh dude, I just discovered a really awesome game called Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah, I know that game. I actually own a copy.
Dude, no way, we should totally play it.
Yeah, we should. Who's your favorite character?
Sub-Zero.
Well, mine is Raiden.
Yeah, I think Raiden is a bit too self-righteous for my taste.
No ways, man. Raiden's awesome, and he's actually kinda scary, especially when you beat the game with him.
No, dude, he's always trying to protect the Earth and stuff.
No, he doesn't even care what happens to the world.
Dude, he's not like that. Wait, are we even talking about the same game?
No, you're not. Why do people do this? Apparently, it is a marketing strategy. Publishers think that if a game has no subtitle or a number attached to it, newcomers won't think that it is a sequel that requires prior knowledge to previous installments, which theoretically should increase sales, but guess what? It doesn't. A lot of these games do not sell as well as publishers hoped. Even Tomb Raider from 2013, that sold millions of copies, did not meet expectations in its original run. That's why they've re-released the game in hope that more people will buy it. Using an already existing name of a previous game or a name that just describes an entire series confuses those that don't know any better, and this may cause this group of people to think that the game is just another remake rather than a new experience, which results in some of these people to not buy the product in the first place. So in order to make sure that such a misunderstanding does not happen, more advertising and more marketing would then be required, which results in an increase in costs. And as for those that are familiar with the series, those that actually enjoy the games, they would have bought the game anyways, regardless of there being a subtitle or a number at the end. Games with numbers or subtitles that separate them from other installments in the franchise actually helps it to stand out. I mean, some of the most successful games in history do this. And those are just games in the same series. What about games that have the same name that aren't part of the same series? Yeah, apparently there's no copyright protections for this sort of thing. These less fortunate classics become completely overshadowed by new releases just because of how many modern review sites and online marketing floods our search results because of all the publicity that they get. This is one of the many things that erases our gaming history by making it extra difficult for people that are unaware of these old titles to discover them in the first place. But here's a good example of a name that has been reused. Back in 1992, id Software released a game called Wolfenstein 3D, and it was an incredibly popular and successful game. But the game was actually based on an even older game called Castle Wolfenstein. You see? It is still possible to release a game that continues a brand without making people think it is a sequel. Most people thought Wolfenstein 3D was the only game in the series at the time of its release, but because its name wasn't exactly the same, finding info on the original isn't too difficult. Now, I get that most investors simply don't care about some game from the 80s, and that many of them only care about money, but here's the thing. According to statistics, this practice doesn't help improve sales. Games are popular and successful because of three main things. Number one, the game is good. Okay? Number two, plenty of advertising and publicity. And number three, the name of the title is distinct and cannot be confused with any other game, whether it be in the same series or not. Now, I just hope that Doom 4 stays as, are you kidding me?